Right, let's see how you did at the language revision test. Test is out of 35 if I'm not mistaken, and so we start with the first question. It asked us give the part of speech of wallet. Of course we get many wallets, small letter, common noun. Right, quote an indefinite article in the sentence. An indefinite article only is a and an, so we look here, there we go, there's an, so that is the answer. But it also says quote, so I make sure that I put it in inverted commas. 1.3 asked us for the figure of speech, and we're using my wallet and an onion, and we're saying they like each other, so we use a comparison with like, and that is a simile. Please make sure that you spell that correctly. It's not I-E on the end, it's just E. Alright, number 2, the spelling error. Favorite, this is an Americanism because that's how they spell it in America, but we use British language, so we use the U there. Make sure that you write both words because it says there, write down the word next to it, the correct spelling. Alright, 2.2 asked us if it's simple, compound or complex. So I go and look at my sentence and I see there's only one verb, and it is, and because of that it has to be simple. 2.3 asked if that is a phrase or a clause. It's a phrase because a group of words that does not contain a finite verb is a phrase. If there was a finite verb in here, it would have been a clause. Number 3, quote the finite verb. Is, even though is not actually written, it's implied here in theirs. Theirs stands for there is, so I actually write out is because it actually is there. That apostrophe is acting as a contraction. Right, 3.2, this is a declarative sentence. Yes, it is a declarative sentence. You declare something, it is a statement. It doesn't require a response. 3.3, identify the part of speech of purple. What type of mushroom is it? It's a purple mushroom, so it's describing the mushroom. It is an adjective. 3.4, identify the part of speech of backyard. Now, you may have said common noun, but what I was really hoping for is that you looked at this word and you saw, okay, I have the word back that exists, and I get a word called yard. Those are two separate words that can stand on their own. I now join them together to create a new word or a compound word, and in this case it is a compound noun. So well done if you guys got that. If not, just take note and remember that for next time. Guns carry Chuck Norris for protection, and I asked the subject, it is guns. A lot of you guys said Chuck Norris, just be careful of that. How do you find the subject again? You find the verb, carry, and you ask who or what before the verb. So who or what does the carrying? Guns do the carrying. So that is the subject. 4.2, identify the indirect object. How do we find the indirect object? We ask for whom, for what, to whom, after the verb, and we get for protection answers that question, so that is my indirect object. 4.3, give the part of speech for protection. It is an abstract noun. 4.4, write down the verb form of protection. Protect is what you're looking for there. Now, question 5, it asked you for an adjective in the sentence, and you could say, okay, well, here's exercise. That's not actually a noun there. Exercise with an S is a verb. But you may have said, okay, tell me more about the exercise. It's enough exercise, so it's describing exercise. But I was a bit silly when I asked that because there isn't actually an adjective in this sentence. What you're really looking for is an adverb, because enough is actually telling me the extent or the degree to how much exercise I get. So if you said enough, you can give yourself the mark, but my bad on that part. I should have said quote an adverb. Alright, 5.2, identify the part of speech of pushing. Pushing is a present participle. Why? Because it's ending in ing and there's no auxiliary in front of it, so it's not a finite verb. 5.3 was name the figure of speech. You're getting a play on the word pushing here. You're not actually doing any pushing, so pun is what you're looking for there, a play on the words to create humor. 6.1, what is the function of the apostrophe in the sentence? There are only two functions of an apostrophe ever, and that is contraction and possession. And so in this case, it's telling me that it belongs to the tree. The final moment of revenge belongs to the tree. So it's possession, 4 S's. Make sure you spell that correctly. 6.2, write down the predicate. The predicate of a sentence is everything except the subject. So if I look, I find the verb is a tree, and I say who or what is a tree's final moment? A paper cut. So a paper cut is my subject. So I exclude that, and I have is a tree's final moment of revenge. 6.3, rewrite the sentence in the active voice. Active voice means I'm going to have seemingly the subject doing something to the object. And so in this case, I'm going to have to swap the subject and the object around, and I get a tree's final moment of revenge is a paper cut. Number 7, interesting question. It is ambiguous, the sentence. Ambiguous means it has more than one meaning or can be interpreted in more than one way. And I've asked for 3 different interpretations here. So the one of them is that a man was on a hill and I saw him because I'm looking through my telescope. I saw a man on a hill with a telescope. I have the telescope and I'm looking and I see far in the distance a man on a hill. The second interpretation is I saw a man on a hill and that man has a telescope. I saw a man on a hill with a telescope. The man on the hill has the telescope. And the third one is both the man and I were on a hill and one of us had a telescope. Look at the sentence. I saw a man on a hill. Okay, so we're both on the hill and I saw him with a telescope. Either the guy has the telescope or I have the telescope. 7.2, give the adjectival form of the word telescope, telescopic. 7.3, provide the diminutive form of hill. Diminutive meaning small, and that is, the small version is hillock. Right, number 8, correct punctuation. Very careful here. Silence is golden, but duct tape is silver. That's what Matthew is saying. But because I've split it up, I have to put a comma here because he hasn't finished talking, right? Small letter for said, comma there, open inverted commas again, and not a capital letter for but because he's still talking. It's still part of the first sentence. Only once he's finished that sentence do I put full stop and then close inverted commas. So well done to you guys if you got that right. 8.2, quote an adverb in the sentence. I'm looking at wildly because he was grinning. How was he grinning? How is manner, so that is widely, adverb of manner. Alright, remember adverbs usually, not always, but usually end in ly. 8.3, what type of adverb? I've just given that to you, adverb of manner. Alright. Number 9. A word has been used incorrectly. Provide the correct homophone, word that sounds the same but spelt differently, and explain why that is the correct word. You should have practice with a C, because as it's used here in the sentence with an S, practice with an S is always a verb, and he's not actually practicing here at the moment. Alright, so he's referring to a rugby practice, like this is the adjective rugby describing practice, the noun, so it should be with a C. And make sure that you've got a nice little explanation there as well to get the mark. 9.2, write down the subject. Again, I look for the finite verb, took. Who or what took the medicine? Daniel. So even though before rugby practice is coming, at the start of the sentence, doesn't necessarily mean that that is the subject. All right, so just be careful there. 9.3 is the sentence simple, compound, complex. Again, I look, step 1, how many verbs does the sentence have? Took is the only verb, so it is a simple sentence. And lastly, number 10. Many errors, rewrite the sentence so that it is grammatically correct. Alright, I told your friend, you are is incorrect. So I told your friend he must sign up to join the committee, spelled correctly, 2 M's, 2 T's, 2 E's, full stop, new sentence. This is a comma splice here, you can't do that. Join 2 main clauses with a comma. He won't be disappointed, won't. Remember, the apostrophe stands in for a letter or is showing a contraction, and that is not the correct place there. It's actually standing for the O in not, will not. Alright, so that must be between the N and the T. And disappointed must be spelled correctly, often spelled incorrectly. It must be 1 S and 2 P's, full stop. Alright, so I hope you guys did well. And the ones that you may have gotten wrong, make sure that you know why you got them wrong and that you don't get them wrong again in future.